Good evening, everyone. I'm Betsy Patterson, President of the League of Women Voters of Ventura County, and I will be the moderator tonight. We are delighted to bring you a forum with the three candidates for Ventura County Clerk-Recorder Registrar. The candidates who are here right now are Michelle Asuncion and Jeff Hargelrode. We are hoping that Bruce Boyer will be joining us momentarily. The way this will work is each candidate will have 1.5 minutes for an opening statement. And after the conclusion of the questions, each candidate will have 1.5 minutes for a closing statement. We randomly drew numbers to decide who would go first in the opening statement, and the order will be reversed for the closing statement. Each candidate will have 1.5 minutes to answer the same questions. I would like to remind everyone that tonight's forum will be recorded and available on the League website in the next 1 to 2 days. Before we start, it is my pleasure to introduce Kathy Morgan, co-chair of the League's Voter Services Committee, for a few words about the League. Kathy.
Thank you, Betsy. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for being here tonight. The League of Women Voters was founded in 1920 with the mission of educating a new group of voters, women, who were granted the right to vote nationwide with the passage of the 19th Amendment 6 months later. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization committed to providing voters with factual, non-biased information, and as such does not support a particular candidate or political party. The League today continues with the mission of empowering voters and defending democracy by registering voters, providing information about the candidates and the issues, getting out the vote, and supporting fair and transparent elections. The candidate forums are an opportunity for voters to hear from the various candidates and to get the information they need to make an informed choice when they vote. Attendees to the forum are invited to submit the questions they wish asked of the candidates when they register. The candidates have not been provided the questions in advance, and each candidate will have the opportunity to answer the questions posed. We are glad that you are here tonight to hear from our candidates. We hope that you get the information you need to make an informed choice. Thank you again for being here, and at this time, I would like to turn it back to tonight's moderator, Betsy Patterson. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. So we will go ahead with our opening statements, and the order will start. If Bruce arrives in time with the opening statements, we will allow him to give his opening statement. Whenever he arrives, he will continue with answering the questions, and he will be able to give a closing statement. So we will start with you, Jeff. You may go ahead, and when you are ready, the timer will be started for 1.5 minutes.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. I noticed we didn't start the forum with the Pledge of Allegiance, so you're welcome to join me because I would like to do that to start off the forum. Put your right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I didn't want to disappoint my 4-H members. I was a leader for many years, and we always started our meetings with the pledge. So my name is Jeff Hargelrode. This position requires extensive customer service experience for managing clerk and recorder responsibilities. It also requires extensive skills to manage large and complex election processes. I have the qualifications for this job. I've worked as a CPA for 10 years, performing audits of large private and public companies. I've spent 30 years in senior executive roles at Universal Pictures, Sony Pictures, and Verizon. I was executive vice president of corporate operations at Sony. I ran the studio. I was in charge of worldwide facilities and administration, manufacturing, and asset management. I had over 400 people in my organization, including contracted personnel, both union and non-union personnel. My annual operating budget was over $200 million a year.
Thank you, Jeff. I'm going to have to mute you at this point because it's 1.5 minutes for each opening statement. Next, our candidate is Michelle Ascension. When you're ready, go ahead.
Good evening. Thank you to the League of Women Voters for hosting this event and for your important work for over a century now. My name is Michelle Ascension. I'm the experienced, qualified candidate for County Clerk and Recorder this June. I'm running because I want to continue the efficient and excellent service that people have come to expect of our office, whether it's filing, recording, or receiving documents, one-stop marriage shop services, and of course, conducting free and fair local elections. I grew up in Oxnard. My husband David and I have been married 22 years and we have 4 kids. I graduated from Santa Clara High School, Oxnard College, and Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. My public service career began in 2006 at the City of Port Hueneme, where I served as the city clerk for 8 years, went on to serve as clerk of the board at the Ventura Regional Sanitation District, and in 2016, I was elected as the city clerk in my hometown of Oxnard. After observing me conduct the 2018 Oxnard special election, Mark Lunn, our current county clerk and recorder, recruited me in 2020 to serve as his assistant clerk recorder, the number 2 position in the office. I'm really proud to have his endorsement for this campaign. And in addition, I've received endorsements from over 50 local leaders, Democrats, Republicans, and independents, who know my track record of by-the-book impartial service for everyone. And speaking of impartial, I've been registered as no party preference for nearly 10 years now. I appreciate the opportunity to participate this evening. I look forward to answering your questions, discussing my priorities, and detailing my knowledge and expertise as an experienced elections professional. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Okay, now we will go ahead and start with the questions, and we will start with you, Michelle, for the first question. Let me just preface this by saying the Office of County Clerk Recorder Registrar sounds as if it has many duties. We hope to cover all aspects of this office tonight. So the first question to you, Michelle, is what does the County Clerk Recorder Registrar of Voters office do? And what do you think is the most important aspect of this job? Okay, when you are ready.
All right, thank you. It's really hard. Oh, am I? No, I'm unmuted. Sorry. It's really hard to narrow it down to one most important aspect because we do so much that touches every life in the entire county. The clerk side does fictitious business names. We're the filing officer for notary public commissions and bonds, for the process server registrations, many other types of documents, CEQA, environmental impact reports, and then as well, deputy commissioners and the oaths of office, and likewise issuing marriage licenses and performing marriage ceremonies. The recorder side, we do the property documents, grant deeds, deeds of reconveyance, et cetera, and the vital records, marriage, death, and birth certificates. And then, of course, we do the elections, free and fair elections, coordinating with the candidates, the local cities, the Secretary of State's office in order to conduct those. And I have many priorities for the upcoming 4 years, including upgrading our website so that it's more customer friendly, increasing our voter engagement and outreach, performing debriefs, full debriefs of every election so that we can figure out what we need to improve for next time. And as well, keeping that.
I'm going to have to interrupt you here, Michelle, because of time's run out, but you will have an opportunity to expand on your views there. Same question to you, Jeff. We've heard sort of a lot of the duties that the County Clerk Recorder Registrar does. And what do you think are the most important aspects of this job?
Well, I think in large part, it can be broken down into customer service. Customer service, especially for the clerk and recorder's office, is paramount. With the activities, as Michelle described, it clearly is a customer service role. I've had roles like that in my career. I ran the studio tour, DVD authoring, food concessions, multi-million-dollar businesses, where if you didn't have customer service, you were out of business. And so I'm looking to bring that private sector experience into the clerk's office so that we can have exemplary service. In addition, to add metrics and things of that nature to make sure that we are hitting our goals. so that our constituents, the residents of Ventura County, feel that they're getting a wonderful experience for all the different activities that are involved with the clerk's office. Secondarily, I think we need to make sure that when we're managing an election process, especially one that the Registrar of Voters manages from beginning to end, from candidate statements to petition verification, validation, ballot creation, distribution, collection. These are very complex processes, and I want to ensure that we have not just protocols written, but there's not a delta between what is written and what is actually happening in the field. So that will be one of my main focuses to look to address.
Thank you. At this time, we have the next question, and I'm going to go ahead and start with you, Jeff, on this question. What do you believe are the top 3 qualities of a county clerk recorder that the county clerk recorder needs to be successful? And how have you demonstrated that you have those qualities?
Okay, well, the qualities, because this position is the head of a department that's approximately $15 million budget. It's 60 employees. You need to provide leadership. You also need to know about administration, but leadership is very important because leadership and the culture of that department emanates from the top. So I have had large organizations under my oversight. So I have done that. I've also, through my career, grown and had additional departments come under my oversight. In all cases, I've been able to go in, review processes, improve processes, and make them better, whether it be more profitable, less costly, more efficient, and done on an appropriate budget. So I'm very good at budget management. And as a CPA, I know numbers, and I'm also good at inspiring people. And so between leadership, ability to analyze processes and make recommendations and actually implement them, and as well as in managing dollars and inspiring people and mentoring people, I think those are the major focuses that I have and qualities that I would bring to the office.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Michelle, what do you believe the top 3 qualities of the county clerk recorder that he needs to have to be successful, and how have you demonstrated those qualities?
Thank you. That's a great question. Definitely the most important is transparency. We need to make sure, because we're doing the public's business, we need to make sure that we are open to observation, to scrutiny, and following the established codes at the state level, at the local level, so that we're not just making up rules as we go, but we have to follow those established procedures. Customer service excellence and constant improvement are very important to me. I'm always looking for excellence in everything that I do, but in particular with my professional careers. It's really important to keep up with the times and to make sure that you have that you're staying current with your best practices. And then I would say the third is having that technical expertise. Because of my experience as a city clerk, as a clerk of the board, a public servant for the last 16 years, I have a wide breadth of technical experience. I've conducted a standalone election at the city of Oxnard. I've coordinated with the cities and the counties at both Port Hueneme and Oxnard, as well as here at the county. And I think everyone who's worked with me would say that I have come in and left it better than I found it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We're going to go to the next question and start with you, Michelle. Just trying to mix this up a little bit. So the question is, explain your understanding of how the clerk recorder office operates and how you would manage the office. We've heard this clearly is a complicated and big office and requires certain management skills. So what are your priorities there as far as management?
Can I just ask for clarification before we start?
Sure.
So you're asking for how it operates, the priorities, and my management style?
So yes, it would be basically how how you envision the office operating and how you would go about managing it. Yes.
Okay, well, that's a lot to fit into a minute and a half, but I'll do my best. So we actually have a really efficient operation. Our office is separated by the two divisions physically. So upstairs, we call it upstairs. It's the ground level of the government center. We have the clerk-recorder division and also HR and fiscal. And then downstairs is where the elections division is housed. There's a lot of coordination between our two departments, between our two divisions. And one of the most important methods of coordination, I would have to say, is our weekly management meetings, where we communicate what's going on currently, what kind of problems we're facing, what's coming down the pike, looking ahead to anticipate problems or just, major deadlines. I really appreciate the communication of our team. I believe in over communicating, so we can all be on the same page and all singing off the same sheet of notes, as they say. And that's a continued priority, communication within our department as well as with the public. One of the things that is big in my high on my list is the voter engagement and education, because we are switching to a new model of voting and people are so used to the previous way. We need to make sure that we tell the story over and over again of how this new method is better. Okay,
thank you very much. And Jeff, same question to you. Would you like me to re-summarize?
If you could tell it again, please. Thank you.
Okay. Explain your understanding of how the clerk recorder office operates and how you would manage the office.
Okay. As far as how it operates, I know from a general sense of being a consumer of all aspects of the office, that be the clerk, recorder, and voting. I know about that. As far as having actually run the office, I clearly have not, but I have had experience in having new departments come under my operation. I had worldwide operations at Sony in over 50 countries, had over 20 departments. My growth in my career was always about having other departments being given to me, and how I successfully managed that was never being afraid to go to the shop floor. Every job in a department is important, and it should be respected and understood by the leader. I think in that case, you generate a lot of goodwill with folks about their job, the importance of it. That dovetails into making sure we have performance management, stretch goals, and things of that nature, to know that if you have key performance indicators that say, you know what, to be successful in this job, we need to be able to process this many recording activities per week. What's the consumer interface, utilization of surveys, things of that nature. So by really making it a team effort, I've always found that it's been very successful, and being able to report a story at the end of the day of how successful the department is. And that would be, in our case, I believe, to the Board of Supervisors. Thank you.
Thank you very much. For the next question, we will start with you, Jeff, and then move to Michelle. So the next question is, what improvements do you believe are necessary? What is working well and should be continued under your leadership? And please address any technological improvements that you would recommend to increase accessibility and public awareness, or any improvements that you would like to see happening at the clerk recorder office. And when you're ready.
Okay, so this is technical improvements?
Well, including technical improvements,
okay.
Any other improvements?
Including, okay. Well, I think, we do have this new voting under the California Voters Choice Act. That's an education process, because we have moved away from precinct voting. I think in general, there is a confidence issue with the voting process. I think that needs to be addressed, whether it's real or perceived. It does actually exist. Rasmussen had a poll in March that indicated a majority of voters think that there's problems with our voting process. So clearly something needs to be done about that. I think one is certainly education about the new Voter Choice Act, how it works, how it should be done. I also believe that there can be improvements in security and transparency, other things that would allow that voter confidence percentage to increase. I think that one of the things in my experience for automation, I think automation is great, but you don't automate a bad process. What you need to do is understand process and how automate if the process is efficient and working well. And then if you can get incremental benefits by additional technology, whether that be additional machines, software, things of that nature, then it should be implemented to make a more efficient department and bring down cost and ensure that transparency and voter confidence is strong.
Okay, thank you very much, Jeff. And Michelle, same question to you. What improvements do you believe are necessary? What's working well, and what should be continued under your leadership? But also address any improvements, including technological improvements, that you would recommend to increase accessibility and public awareness.
Thank you. That's a great question. We do have a really efficient, well-run operation in the county clerk's office, and the reputation countywide for being efficient and responsive. In fact, our customer service rating, there's a survey that is available on our website as well as emailed following every service. We have a 98+% customer satisfaction rating. So I think we're doing something right there. We want to continue that standard. So continuous training of the staff, continuous communication, and just making sure that we improve processes where needed, update manuals as needed. I'm a strong believer in lots of communication. I think our website is an underutilized tool, and that is definitely something that we're going to focus on for the future. The nice part about that is that we don't have to invent this whole new thing. Other counties, Orange County, LA County, Sacramento, some of these counties that really have good looking websites, we can borrow from them and improve our website so that it becomes a more useful tool for the public, for candidates, as well as internally. The more answers people can find on your website, the fewer calls you're getting, the more the staff can work on other things.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, so the next question, let me just where I am here. Next question, I will actually go ahead and start again with, no, sorry. We will start with Michelle on this next question. Sorry, I knew I was going to get there or something. We have had several questions that are related specifically to the management of elections. So there'll be a series of questions about this coming up. So the first one is, describe your experience managing elections or efforts of similar magnitude. Do you have experience as a poll worker or running an election at any level, high school, college, community, whatever? Go ahead.
Okay, thanks. Well, my election experience started at the city of Port Hueneme. When I started there in 2006, the summer of 2006, one of the very first things that I did was help with the city council election that year. So that involved coordinating with the city clerk's office and the county to get our candidates on the ballot, our measures on the ballot. So as a city clerk, you're the local elections official within your city. Moving on to the city of Oxnard. Well, first of all, I had to run for election to become the city clerk in the city of Oxnard. And so then I got to see it from the candidate's perspective. And that was actually very eye-opening and helpful. I mean, I'd been doing, I think it was 4 elections at the city of Port Hueneme from the city clerk's perspective. Now I was a candidate. There at the city of Oxnard, I conducted, as I mentioned, our standalone election, the attempted recall of 4 of the 5 council members in 2018. And then coming to the county last year, which should have been an off election year, it was actually a bit opportune for me because of the special recall that was called. I got to be able to see the elections operations from the county perspective, as well as there was a special District 2 election in the city of Oxnard, and I did work the polls for that election. So I've seen it from every angle.
Okay, thank you very much. And Jeff, same question for you. Describe your experience managing elections or efforts of a similar magnitude. And have you had any experience as a poll worker or running an election at any level?
I have not. And part of the reason I've been 7 weeks into this race, I have not had that opportunity because Mr. Lunn retired several days before the filing deadline. And that was something that I was not pleased with. It did not allow for any other candidates to jump in with any serious sort of thought process behind it. And so I've spent the time, I've got the experience, and so I decided to jump in on this. I think that any organization, whether it be elections division, whether it be running any kind of company, everything can be improved. And that is something that I am bringing to this office, whether that be elections or clerk and recorder activities. Every organization has room for improvement. I have skills in that. I'm looking to bring those skills and leverage subject matter expertise within the department, within the county. There are other city clerks as well that have experience in being able to pool people together to bring the best and brightest to make change is something I'm very open and wanting to do. My own personal filing story is relatively new. So when I decided to jump in, I went down to the office and I'm running out of time, but it was kind of eye-opening, quite a bit of hoops to jump through, and the office is a gatekeeper for many people wanting to run for office. And so I got through the gate and I'm running. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We're going to continue, and this time we'll start with you again, Jeff. So going back and forth here between the two of you. The next question is, what, if any, improvements would you recommend to our current voter registration process and election systems? And if you have any specific ideas, that would be helpful to mention them here. Okay,
well, like I said, I'm 7 weeks into this, and so a lot of my information is coming from the public website. I have a quick study on many things. I know we have Dominion machines. I know that any sort of company that sells platforms has a variety of different machines to use. I believe our systems that we have, the ICX and the tabulating device in the basement, are relatively basic, unlike some of the other stories we hear. But I think that there's a significant number of things that we can improve and what I would look to do when it comes to voter rolls. Voter rolls, and I get this from the 7 weeks I've been talking with constituents. The rolls are not clean, and I think a lot more attention should be paid to them. I have people saying all the time, oh, I get stuff from people who moved away years ago. My daughter's been in Australia for years. When we're mailing out over 500,000 ballots, that's a big deal. We need to have that clean. And I know there's a relationship between what we do in the Ventura County office and what gets processed by Sacramento. And I don't know what that delta is, but something's not working right. And I would get under that and make sure that we get those rolls cleaned up, because that's where it has to start, upstream. You need to make sure that that's clean, especially if you're mailing out ballots to every registered voter in the county.
Okay, thank you very much, Jeff. And Michelle, same question to you. What, if any, improvements would you recommend to our current voter registration process and election system?
Okay. Oh, I'm on. Okay, yes, sorry. I would definitely promote voter registration. One of the great things that we have is high school early voter registration, so 16 and 17-year-olds. And we do this as part of our high school voter education week events in April and September. Those are optimum times to get young people who are approaching their 18th birthday registered, so that when they're 18, they are automatically registered and they can participate right away in the next upcoming election, as well as reaching out to new citizens and getting them registered to vote. I have to address the comment about our voter rolls. They are cleaned up on a very regular basis. We received information about deceased voters and change of address on an ongoing basis from various agencies, public health, from the Secretary of State, from the DMV for change of address, as well as the post office. So, you know, that's an ongoing process. And if something is wrong, residents need to reach out to us because, you know, we don't know that your daughter is in Australia for years, and state law prohibits us from just removing people. We have to, they can be, their status can be changed to inactive so that they don't keep getting ballots. But you know, we need communication from the voters out there regarding family members.
Okay, thank you, Michelle.
Thank you,
Michelle. Yes. Next question, we will actually start again with you, Michelle. So don't go away. What is your understanding of the role of the County Clerk-Recorder Registrar in implementing federal, state, and local election and campaign laws? What resources are available to assist you in implementing fair and secure elections?
Okay. Well, you know, the campaign laws, the election laws, those are made at the federal, state, and Board of Supervisors level. The clerk recorder's role is not to be a policymaker, but to administer the processes that are signed into law. Now, we do have various associations throughout the county, the Clerk Recorder Association of California, as well as the California Association of Certified Election Officials. And between those two, we have a lobbyist who does advocate for us with the California State Legislature. And that is how we exert our influence as the professionals who actually administer these roles in our communities. As far as resources, like I mentioned, the associations, we have listservs that you can ask a question and get answers from all over the state. I had a similar resource at my fingertips when I was a city clerk. We had a very active listserv. There's training, conferences, and what I hope to do as city clerks, we had a tight-knit group of networking with our local counterparts. I'd like to do that, especially with the Central Coast counties, my counterparts in San Luis Obispo and Santa Barbara County, to increase the communication and coordination with our offices.
Great, thank you very much, Michelle. And Jeff, same question to you. What is your understanding of the role of the County Clerk Recorder Registrar in implementing federal, state, and local election and campaign laws? And what resources are available to help you implement fair and secure elections?
Well, clearly the federal and state guidelines, you know, have to be understood and managed towards. I think they can also be reviewed and determined whether or not those are something that are applicable for the county. I think that one of the things that I would certainly have to do and would do, as my experience in the past has dictated, is you get under all these things. I mean, if whether it be these associations, partnering with other clerks, recorders, and registrar of voters to understand those sort of things. And to be quite honest, as it relates to how federal and state agencies can help support that, currently I'm unaware of those level of details, but I am not a stranger to understanding those details, getting them, and implementing them. So with that, I'll relinquish the rest of my time on this question.
Okay, thank you very much. We will start with you for the next question, though, so don't go away. The Clerk Recorder Office is a non-partisan office. Please describe how you will work to maintain elections operations in a non-partisan manner, assuring fair, secure, and transparent elections.
Who's that addressed to? You're on mute.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
You get to go first on this one, Jeff.
Yeah, okay. So nonpartisan, you know, is important because, you know, look, voting and the accuracy should matter to anybody, regardless of party affiliation. Okay, I mean, the concerns of any citizen and lawful voter should be the same. Is my vote counted? Is it non-diluted? Is it counted timely? Is it counted to the same level of weighting as anybody else, whether through the methodology of drop boxes, vote by mail, in-person voting. They need to have the confidence for that. And that's what I'm looking to bring to the whole voting process as a nonpartisan endeavor, because it should matter to the same for everybody. And I totally agree, this should be a nonpartisan office. But I think the concerns amongst anybody, whether it's Democrat, independent, non-party preference, should all be the same, and should all those concerns should be addressed similarly.
Okay, thank you very much. And Michelle, same question to you. The Clerk-Recorder is a nonpartisan office. Please describe how you will work to maintain elections operations in a nonpartisan manner, including assuring fair, secure, and transparent elections.
Thank you very much. That's a very valuable question. And I am the only candidate of the three that is registered no party preference. And let me give you a little background on that. Over 10 years ago, when I thought I would be a city clerk for the rest of my life, I made the conscious decision to register no party preference because I wanted everybody, and this was way back in Port Hueneme, I wanted everybody that I dealt with, whether they were from the public, whether it was a candidate running for office, whether it was a current or previous city council member, I wanted everyone to feel confident that I was trustworthy, to be impartial, and to treat everyone equally and not offer any favors to anyone because we're party mates or anything like that. I wanted everyone to feel that I was there only to serve as the local administrator of the elections code, the government code, the fair political practices, everything that is applicable in dealing with the public in government service. So being nonpartisan, I think that it really gives me an advantage to be trusted by the community, that I'm not coming in with some kind of agenda to rig anything or to make anyone have an unfair advantage, but to treat everyone fairly.
Okay, thank you very much, Michelle. Oh, sorry, we're going to start with you in this next question. So we've talked a lot about the elections, and there are other duties to this office. What do you see as potential areas of improvement in the clerk's department and recorder department? These are the places for performing marriage ceremonies, recording births, deaths, deeds, titles, and more. Michelle, you're on.
Okay. One of the projects that we've been talking about implementing when we have time to come up for air is creating an archive vault. Currently we have a vault that has several books in it from way back early in the county's history. Our county was founded in 1873. Back then, everything was handwritten on archival paper. And so we were looking to exploring the possibility, first of all, of the best method of preserving those books, and then making them available to the public for people who have an interest in county history and would like to come in and peruse those historical records. Our marriage ceremonies, one of the things that we offer is having a very beautiful wedding ceremony room. And I have to say, over the last couple of years, COVID has really forced us to take a look at what improvements we can make. That was when we implemented our online appointment making system, because the building was closed to the public and we wanted to be able to ensure that we could still provide services. So we went to an appointment-based system. I found it to be very efficient. People appreciate being able to come in at their appointed time and get served right away rather than having to stand in a line.
Okay, thank you. Going to have to stop you there. And Jeff, same question to you. There are other duties of this office beyond the elections. What do you see as potential areas of improvement in the clerk's department and the recorder department, knowing that these are places for performing marriage ceremonies, recording births, deaths, deeds, titles, and more?
Yes, so I think I'm going to address that first with my experience in this sort of stuff. So the Office of Recorder, it's a repository of the county's history. okay? And that's very important. I was in charge of all the asset management for Sony Pictures, a corporation over 100 years old, a billion-dollar company. I was responsible for everything from the negative of Lawrence of Arabia to film prints, to scripts, to financial records. I had stuff stored in salt mines 700 feet below the plains in Kansas. I know about record retention, how to do that kind of stuff, and how to do it efficiently and effectively for the taxpayers of Ventura County. I also think when we talk about services, it's really about access, okay? Whether that be the marriage ceremonies, I don't know to what degree, but having special dates open, special hours. Someone shouldn't have to come in and get married between 9 and 5 and not be able to have a celebration with family and friends. I would like to make sure that accessibility is key. And that also goes with, maybe the satellite offices being expanded. People in Simi Valley, there's a government center there. Should there be recorder services there? So that people don't have to drive from Simi to Ventura or to the current satellite office in Thousand Oaks. So it's really about, from my standpoint, I've got the experience to get under all this stuff. I also believe, again, access for the services that are required, whether that be appointment or making sure that people can still come in without an appointment.
Okay, thank you very much. And stick around, Jeff, because the next question is going to go to you. And here, let's take a little breath and a little break and take a breather and relax a little bit and get to know a little bit about you personally. So the question is, how did you decide to live in Ventura County? What attracted you here, and what things do you enjoy doing in your free time?
Well, I've been a resident of Ventura County for 35 years. I've lived primarily in the East County, Simi Valley, and currently reside in the Santa Rosa Valley area. I'm actually a farmer. I live on 75 acres. I have farmed for 25 years, lemons and avocados. I'm actually the farmer. I don't just manage the stuff. I do irrigation, I plant, prune, etc. I work really hard to bring food to your table. And it's the third largest industry in this county. And I've participated for a number of years, 15 years, in leadership in 4-H at the county fair with the livestock and helping youth understand animal husbandry and things of that nature. So I've always loved that. I love my spiritual community, and I have raised my children here out on the farm, and I've got 2 grandsons as well. So I love the fact that Ventura offers the beach, the mountains, some level of cosmopolitan activity in our wonderful cities. It's just a wonderful place to be. I worked for 30 years in LA County, and I always enjoyed coming home to Ventura County because it's like night and day.
Great, thank you very much. And Michelle, how about you? Tell us a little about how you decided to live in Ventura County, what attracted you here, and what things you enjoy doing in your free time.
I love this question. It was not my decision to come to Ventura County. I was born in Los Angeles, and my parents and I was a only child at the time, moved here in 1982 when I was 6 years old. My parents came up one weekend to tour this community that they had just heard of, Oxnard, a growing and emerging community at the time. Came out here, toured a new development in South Oxnard in the Lemonwood neighborhood, and put an offer on a house immediately. My dad still lives in that same house that he bought brand new in 1982. Growing up here in Oxnard was wonderful. I had a great childhood, married a local boy who was born and raised in Oxnard. Our kids are thriving here. We have good schools. We have wonderful neighbors. And as far as community involvement, and what I do in my free time, we love taking family trips. We love camping. We love the outdoors. So we visit botanical gardens. We go hiking. We go to the beach. We go to national parks. And then, just locally getting out, biking, skating, and just walking the neighborhood, getting together with our extended family. And I'm active, we're active at our church, and there are many volunteer opportunities that we go through. We just got back into it because of the 2 years off from COVID, but
Thank you. Have to cut you off there. Sorry about that. But we will bring you back on there so that we can move on to the next question. We have a few more questions to go, and then we'll move on to closing statements rather. The next question, starting with you, Michelle, will be the current election officer, Mark Lunn, elected to adopt the full Voters' Choice Act voting system, which includes ballots being mailed to all registered voters, early voting availability, and multiple options for returning the ballot. Discuss your ideas about the election process and how to encourage all voters to vote.
Okay, well, yes, I was excited to be part of the team that implemented the Voters' Choice Act here locally. We kind of piloted the process with just purely out of necessity because of the global pandemic for the November 2020 election and also for the recall in 2021. So I think people were a little resistant to try to transition to that model. Trying it out and piloting it, if you will, changed some minds. We saw that it was better for the voters, better for our office. And so we decided to go ahead and apply to the Secretary of State to become a VCA certified county. And we're excited to conduct that method of voting for the first time in our June primary. To encourage people to vote, the VCA plan that we submitted requires multiple points of outreach. So in person, online, connecting with community groups, language groups, special interest groups that advocate for voters with disabilities, and interfacing with them on a constant basis to make sure that we're meeting the needs of those communities and that we can encourage their participation. So I hope to see good results.
Great, thank you very much. And Jeff, same question to you. The elections officer currently elected to adopt the full Voters' Choice Act as a voting system, which includes ballots being mailed to all registered voters, early voting availability, and multiple options for returning the ballot. Discuss your ideas about this process and how to encourage all voters to vote.
Well, it's a good question for your people that are viewing this. I don't know how much they do know about it. We are the 28th out of 58 counties who have implemented this. It was approved in February by the Secretary of State. It does expand voting where you do have 30 days for voting. You then have 34 drop boxes that are located outside 24/7. And they're located where approximately every 15,000 voters are. You then also have ultimately 51 voting centers. They're not precincts anymore. They are voting centers where you can go anywhere in the county to vote. One of the things that again, trying to quick study some of this stuff, is you have 30 days to vote by mail-in vote. You have, I believe it's 11 days out, you have 10 voting centers in each one of the cities. And then 4 days out, it expands to another 41 voting centers. I think, there's so many number of ways you can vote. I think that certainly there should be, outreach about this new Voter Choice Act, but I think it's pretty easy to figure out how to vote. And it's something I personally believe that citizens should take some level of responsibility. And there's whether it be the websites, talking to their neighbors, sample ballots, et cetera, to figure out how to vote. So I think we have things in place.
Okay. At this opportunity, I'm going to introduce Bruce Boyer. And Bruce, I would like you to, if you don't mind, to turn on your video, because we cannot see you without your video on. It just looks like a black box. I'm going to unmute you so that you can let us hear your voice. And if you have a video capability, please turn it on at this point. Are you there, Bruce? Bruce, can you hear me? Can everybody else hear me? Okay, so I'm not sure what's happening here. Looks like he's here with a microphone, so he should be able to hear us and he should be able to talk to us. At this point, Bruce, if you get to the point where you can hear me and you can speak to me, just go ahead and speak up. But at this point, I'm going to go on to the next question. And we will have Jeff start off answering this. And if Bruce can work into the system, we will do that. So this next question is, we have heard many claims of voter fraud or election fraud over the past few years. What would you do to ensure safe and fair elections and report the outcomes of all elections so the public has confidence in the vote?
Okay, I think part of this we addressed earlier, but I'll repeat it. I mean, whether there's voting fraud actually or perceived, or where it's at along the whole election value chain needs to be determined, because whether it's real or not, there is a voter confidence problem. And this means proper training for our personnel, the hundreds of people that are being hired for every election, to ensure that observers who are entitled to observe, that the protocols are established and followed, not just written down, but followed, so that people can say, you know what, I was there, things were working fine, there was no problems. These are things, and chain of custody issues. All these things should be done and communicated to the public from a very transparent standpoint, to ensure that voter confidence is maintained and increased. Because as long as that exists, we're going to have a problem. I think getting back to the nonpartisan aspect, it's important, because whether you're a Democrat, Republican, non-party preference, independent, if you feel that your election has been run properly, safely, and securely, and your candidate didn't win, well, that's the way it goes. And I think most voters would say, well, I'm okay with that, because my election was run properly and accurately and securely.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Jeff. And now, Michelle, same question to you. We've heard many claims of voter fraud and election fraud over the past years. What would you do to ensure safe and fair elections and report the outcomes of all elections so that the public has confidence in the vote?
That's a great question. So let me just educate a little bit on the process that we do to prevent fraud. And it starts with verifying that the registered voters are eligible. We work in conjunction with the state on that. They are the keepers of the master voter list. They are the ones, when people apply to register to vote, they're registering with the state, and then the state goes ahead and adds them to the rolls if they are eligible. When people vote with our office for the first time, their signature is imaged and attached to their voting record. And when they either vote by mail, or when they go to vote in person at the vote center, that signature, the form that they're signing or the mail envelope that they're signing, is compared with the signature that is on file. And that's how we verify that this person is who they are saying that they are. When we are notified of fraud, or if we suspect fraud, like we see that this person tried to submit a vote by mail ballot, but then they also voted in person at the office, at the vote center, that envelope is retained and it's investigated to see, what happened here? Why is the signature not matching? Why is this person attempting to vote multiple times? What happens if they vote in another county?
Thank you. I have to interrupt you there. Okay. At this point, I think we have time for maybe one more question, which is maybe not a really detailed question. And Michelle, we'll go ahead and start with you on this one. What mechanism should be in place for a voter to report a problem? Is there a hotline to contact? Are there surveillance cameras in the elections office? Should the public have access to watching the counting of the ballots? Just tell us a little bit about how you go about having a member of the public report a problem that they see.
Great, and this ties into the previous question, which if I could just take a couple seconds to finish. We have notices on our ballot boxes and in the voter guide and on the vote by mail ballot that say it's a felony to tamper with the election. So investigations, the results are forwarded to the DA's office for possible prosecution. And so that's how we're stopping attempted voter fraud. There's not a whole lot of cases, but the ones that do, we sniff them out and we make sure that we put an end to it. Okay, so then as far as reporting problems, our phone number, our email address are on the website. They're on all the materials that go out from our offices. They're on the vote by mail, I'm sorry, on the drop boxes. And people should call. In fact, there's new language that's been added to the drop boxes that says, if you witness someone, tampering with the ballot box or attempting to electioneer around the ballot box within the forbidden perimeter, call our office and let us know so that we can send people out there to put an end to it. Of course, observers are always welcome to observe our ballot processing, our counting. We have them in the office whenever, for every election season. And we feel that's a good accountability measure to have that coordination with our office and the people who want to observe.
Thank you very much. And I'm just a second, Jeff, I'm going to let you answer this question, but it looks as if Bruce is here and I want to unmute him, but I'm wondering, okay, Bruce, can you hear me? Can you say something to me? So I'm wondering if he is maybe, oh, he's here. I'm very sorry that I can't seem to access him to have him actually speak to us. There's a question that I don't really know how to deal with that. Let me see, Bruce, if you can access the chat, you could maybe chat with us, but I can't see you and I can't hear you. So we're going to go ahead to Jeff and let him answer the question about what mechanisms should be put in place for a voter to report a problem. A hotline number, surveillance cameras in the elections office. Should the public have access to watching the counting of the ballots?
Yeah, absolutely, all three. There should be a mechanism, there should be cameras, and there should be people who follow up on those things. I'm not convinced that a lot of that stuff is happening. There's a number of organizations that are for election integrity project that train observers to go out to the precincts, obviously following electioneering laws that are appropriate. But I also think surveillance on drop boxes, I understand this might already be true, is that the full-time 24/7 high-def cameras at the tabulation center for voting. But there's a disconnect here, because I know from the last election, talking to many people, yes, observers were there. Could they actually perform their functions? No, they couldn't, because they were pushed back too far to do anything. And I think this isn't just necessarily with Ventura County, this has happened elsewhere. This office, is my understanding, is responsible for making sure those protocols are established, adhered to, and followed. And under my leadership, that adds to the transparency. You need to have that, you have to have it, and you have to have an escalation process, whether that be through law enforcement, election officials, et cetera, to deal with any issues that arise during an election process. This gets back to voter confidence. If you don't have that, it doesn't take many people to have a very bad experience to share with everybody else. And all of a sudden, everybody's saying, well, this isn't working. And I'm looking to change that. I don't see a timer up here, Betsy, but okay.
I know, I was going to say, I also wasn't seeing the timer, but I think
okay. But I'm done. That was my message. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Okay, so we have come to the end of our questions. And at this time, we are going to move to the closing statements for each candidate. And again, I am very sorry that I cannot seem to get an audio on Bruce Boyer or a video. If he can speak up, he can speak up at any time if he's able to. I don't know why we would not be able to hear him if his microphone is on. But at this point, we are going to start with the closing statements. Bruce, if you ever get ability to speak up, we will listen to your closing statement also. We will reverse the order that we went in. So Michelle, you will start with your closing statement, and you will have a minute and a half for your closing statement whenever you are ready.
Okay. Well, I'd like to thank everyone for attending and thank the League again for hosting. The Clerk-Recorder Registrar of Voters is an important function in our democracy that requires technical expertise, impartiality, and the utmost integrity. I've shared a lot of information this evening about my background and experience and how they relate to this position. So let me quickly recap. 16 years of increasing responsibility as a public servant, multiple elections conducted at both the city and the county level, extensive knowledge of records management principles and practices, and a multitude of endorsements. I am a nonpartisan, process-oriented problem solver with a proven track record of success at both the city of Port Hueneme and the city of Oxnard, established and respected both locally and with my counterparts throughout the state. Bottom line, I'm plug and play and ready to serve on day one. So I ask for two things this evening. One, please get out and vote. Whether you vote in person or utilize the vote by mail ballot like I do, voting has never been easier. And my second request, I would be honored to have your vote for County Clerk and Recorder. To see a full list of my endorsements and to learn more about me, please visit my website, michelle4vc.com. If you like what I had to say tonight, I'd be grateful if you'd make a contribution while you're there. That's Michelle, F-O-R-B-C.com. Thank you again for your time and have a good night.
Thank you very much, Michelle. And now, Jeff, we would like to hear your closing statements.
Sure. Thank you very much, Betsy. So this is a nonpartisan countywide elected office that represents almost 1 million residents and over 500,000 voters. It touches every person in Ventura County from cradle to grave, regardless of your status, whether you're a homeowner, a newborn, a senior citizen, married, single, or divorced, business owner, or customer of government. If you're a registered voter, this office handles your voice in how government will serve and spend your money. Your vote matters. Voters must be confident in the entire voting process from beginning to end so that the election outcomes are beyond reproach. I'm a farmer, businessman, and experienced operation executive. I've been responsible for budgets 15 times larger than this department. I've managed hundreds more personnel and developed and implemented multi-million-dollar information systems designed to ensure reliable, efficient, and accurate results. I have broad and deep experience in evaluation of processes, auditing, records management, and customer service. But most importantly, while I'm skilled at administration, I'm a leader. We elect leaders that will bring a fresh perspective to this critical position, one that includes private sector experience. Unlike my opponent, I am a citizen candidate. I am not looking for a job. I'm looking to do a job for you, my family, my friends, and my county. You will be my customer and you will be my boss. I look for your vote. I'm Jeff Hargelrode for County Clerk, Recorder, and Registrar of Voters. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And at this point, I'd like to say thank you to all three candidates, even though we were not able to hear from Bruce Boyer tonight due to some sort of technical difficulties. Thank you all for your service to Ventura County and for taking on the challenge of running for office. It is a great service to our democracy, and it is a challenge for you as candidates, as well as your families, your staff, and your volunteers. The League of Women Voters commends you for stepping up to the challenge of public service. At this point, I would like to share with you some important messages for voters from the League of Women Voters to prepare for the upcoming primary election in June. Now is the time to plan your vote. The official ballot will be mailed to all registered voters starting on May 9th. Once you have filled out your ballot, place it in the official return envelope and be sure to sign the back of the envelope. Postage is paid, and on the return envelope. Oh, what happened here? Let me go see about that. Oh, shoot. Sorry, postage is played, and there are 3 ways that you can return your ballot. You can drop it in a mailbox. You can drop it in one of the 38 drop boxes located around the county, which will be open starting May 9th. You can also take it in person to any of the in-person vote centers around the county. 10 of them will be open starting May 28th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Then all 51 vote centers will be open on the 3 days before Election Day from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on Election Day from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. To be sure you receive your official ballot in the mail, check your voter registration status for the correct mailing address at voterstatus.sos.ca.gov. To find a drop box or a vote center location, go to the Elections Office Clerk-Recorder Registrar website at venturavote.org. You can follow your ballot from start to finish by registering at where'smyballot.sos.ca.gov, and you will receive text messages or emails to let you know the ballot has been mailed out, will be delivered, and has been received by the U.S. Postal Service to return that it's been received and processed at the election office and will be counted. There are several nonpartisan voter information sites to learn more about the candidates and the ballot measures. Voters Edge is the League's nonpartisan site. Ballotopedia is another one. And I encourage all of our candidates to complete their information on a nonpartisan site so the voters can learn about your priorities. Just a reminder, this forum was being recorded and the video will be accessible from our website, LWVVenturacounty.org, under candidate forums in the next 24 to 36 hours. There are links to watch the videos from past forums, as well as links to register for future candidate forums. At this point, I would like to say thank you to everyone for watching. Thank you again to our candidates and to our League volunteers, Kathy Morgan, a Voter Services Co-Chair, Maddie Park, Cheryl Collart, David Marin, and many others who have helped us with preparing for this candidate forum tonight. And with that, we will say good night.
Thank you, Betsy. Good night.